Sorry about the scattergram. I wasn't expecting less than the motherhood of Peter.
Yeah, that's so cool. My gosh, I've never heard that before. I love it.
It was
Mother
just the
Church.
way, it was just the way it looked to me.
I can see
That
that.
suddenly he gets all maternal and wraps his arms around Jesus, whereas in fact Jesus says, "Come on, you get behind me."
Yeah.
Anne and Michael, I think Jeremy should be on these every week, not just for his images, but I could just listen to you for ages, Jeremy, with that beautiful accent.
Oh, same. And I love it.
Actually, you could say what
I know.
Yeah, you could say whatever, and it would sound just so profound, and you'll just find me going yes. So keep
now
bringing
you know
it
what it's
on.
like for the people in Warrington. You know?
Yeah.
It's crowd control at the door, Jeremy. You have to sell tickets, don't you, nowadays?
Yeah. It's lovely.
Was there anything that you didn't get a chance to say that you wish that did you?
Yes, I want to know, good scholars, over the years I've heard many, truly I tell you there's some standing here who will not taste death before they see it.
Look, we didn't even get onto that one debate.
Didn't get onto it.
That's why we were talking so much. To make sure we never reach the end.
I had it written down as if people had talked about Peter and stuff like that as the challenge, I was going to do what do we do with verse 27 and 28, and then I didn't even do that. I just went on.
Tell me now, because Anne's not recording. Record, Anne. Hit record again.
I don't.
Excellent.
No, we'll just park it with Paul's letters to the Thessalonians.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't it just mean the transfiguration?
No, because why would he like that only happens a few days or a week or something later? Why would he talk about, you're not going to die before we get there? It's okay, it'll be all right. Some of you are not going to die before then. It's like, why would he talk about that for something that's only about a week away?
What about the resurrection? In fact, crucifixion in some way.
Yeah, and I think
beginning of the church, the spread of the early church could be that.
Yeah, I mean Mark's wording is slightly different. It's less definite.
It's less.
Just less.
Well, I just think that it's part of that belief amongst some of the early church that that Jesus was coming back, that the kingdom of the imminent, and
but think of the tremendous change they saw in their lifetimes.
Yeah,
from we can all get into one room, guys, to
yep.
The word all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, some people, especially older commentary stuff, which I found slightly disturbing, were about it was all about the destruction of Jerusalem. Yeah, the kingdom of God has come and smashed Jerusalem.
Yeah, that's not real nice.
They're like, it's like okay.
Oh well, thank you. That gives a few avenues.
You must have an answer, Anne. You've asked us. What is the answer?
No, I mean, I don't have a big problem with it being the transfiguration, just because I don't think just because something's the next chapter means it was necessarily the next day.
But it wasn't like years away though.
No, it wasn't years away, but I don't actually see why it needs to be. Maybe it's a turn of phrase. Maybe it is that the kingdom of God will come not just once you've died, essentially. It's not just a case of you've got to die in order to see God, that, you're actually going to see God in power in your life. Right?
There's also like the Son of Man coming thing. I think it's that imminent parousia thing. It's the only one I can really think of.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that they thought that and that got in there.
Yeah, I don't see that as a problem, but I do love the idea of the kingdom of God coming in power, being something other and more than the parousia.
See, I'm just pure Moltmann. I just think the power in which it comes is the powerlessness, the surrender of the cross, and only then can we talk about power. Anyway.
Yeah. So
wow, that's nice. Yeah, I go with that too, Mike.
I like that
that's
one.
Well done.
Yeah, we'll go with that one, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out before.
I've got one more question. Denying yourself. You gave a lovely example there, Damon, about thinking of perhaps voting against your own interest for somebody else's interest. But Gillian, how on earth do you talk about that to people today, about denying yourself?
Well, maybe instead of spending $5 at the canteen, you actually do give $2 to Anglican Family Care, rather than going, oh my God, we've been asked to give $2 again. I can't bear the thought of having to give $2.
You do that so well.
It's kind of like that. Yeah, actually denying yourself something at the canteen so that you can actually care for some other people in your community who, don't have lunch on a regular basis or whatever it is. Maybe that's actually good for you as well. This is where you find your life as well. You actually discover that, by losing your life, you will actually find it as well.
Yeah.
You will actually be probably happier and have a better sense of connection and just all sorts of things that are beneficial, which is still a very self-centered kind of way of thinking about it. But
I think it's wondering about the whole, just how incredibly important identity is today. And I was just wondering how that fitted in with this desperate seeking for identity and supposedly denying self. Just how do you put those together?
No, I was just thinking that we've got this, Jesus is so antagonistic towards the Pharisees, yet they had this idea that they could get to heaven on their own, and he says, no, you can't. But actually, it seems to me that what they were trying to do was much more personally achievable than what Jesus tells us we should be doing. Okay. It's not enough to give to the needy. That's got to be your first reaction. And at the end of the queue comes what you'll do for yourself.
So you're saying it's almost a whole reprogramming of our instincts as well as being called for.
Yes, but also, although the Pharisees seem to make a big fuss about what they were doing, and the rules get very complicated, it was doable. It's only when Jesus tells us that being angry inside is just as bad as going out and killing people that it becomes impossible.
So are you saying denying yourself means denying the sense that you can do it on your own, or that this is something that is achievable? Okay, that's interesting.
We're powerless. We just can't do that stuff.
I think what I find. I was just going to say, I think here some of us can speak words on Sunday to our congregations that are mostly made up of people who know what it is to deny themselves and to be selfless, and that's half the population. Many women know what it is to deny themselves for the sake of others, and so we've got to be really careful with these words, because it's those who hold power are often males and full of ego. So so we're going to be very careful. But I think for me, it's actually it's in discovering who we truly are by the relinquishment of the ego. That's that allow a true self, to allow God to be more fully present in our lives by making room. So yes, it's not easy, but I think that's what the call of Jesus is. I mean, that's what Jesus is, self-emptying, disclosed, revealed the fullness of God's life, and that's that's the pathway for us. And I think what you said, Gillian, before, in terms of your words to young people, well, that's where we begin. That's where we begin, isn't it? It's we encourage people to think beyond themselves, but hopefully they'll come to a point where they realize that their true self is discovered in the letting go of the self.